Hi, I'm Landscaper, and this is the Wannabe Composer series. Hot. Right, we're carrying on today with latest little house track number. This is called Freshish. I don't know where I get these names from, but you just need something, don't you, to label it. So I last left off, I think I was partway through working on some of these vocals. I've now colour coded everything, you know how I like to make everything nice and colourful. And what I've done is I've done a basic arrangement since my last video. It's all similar principles. There's not an awful lot changes, not an awful lot happens in terms of variety. I've just kept it very basic. The idea again is this is for sync, for kind of library music. So I built this out in 8-bar loops. You just want it to be kind of nice and simple. As usual, I've borrowed vocals, I say borrowed, from Splice, which I think work quite nicely. However, it's unlikely that they would make the cut eventually, only because if you're looking to release a track or you're looking to get it played out on TV, radio, films, whatever, then you know other people will have probably used these vocals in their own tracks as well. So it's nice to get something original done. But for that, obviously, I will have to send it off to vocalists. But again, almost to feel and hear how it could be, it's quite fun to stick some Splice vocals on. Anyway, so that's what I've done. So I think today we're just going to mix it because everything I'm happy with the bass arrangement as I've got it now. So what I've done is I've set up a loop here that we're just going to go around, and we're going to bring everything in one at a time and just make sure we're kind of happy with the mix, and then we're going to do a little final mix on the output. Start with a kick. Good place to start. Or we just start in the wrong place. I don't mind either or whatever. Nice slow kick. Sometimes you need to listen to it in situ with the other. Okay, I feel maybe the kick's pretty good actually. It's a bit duff, but that's kind of a bit of the style these days, just at the moment. So yeah, the snare. A little bit of the mid-weight taken out, I feel. That's not bad. Serum 2. So I've got a fairly complicated EQ and a little bit of compression on this. I think it sits pretty well already, so I'm quite happy with that. I've got a nice little cut here that gets... Oh, except I've just moved it. Nice little cut here that takes the frequencies away so the kick has room to come through. Got a little bit of low end in just to give it a bit of weight. You can see the bulk of it is happening around this kind of area, around the sort of 300 mark. With the high notes around this area. I think that sounds pretty good. The bass. So it's a nice little, slightly off pitch Serum sub, which I've got a lot of weight behind. It's quite quiet in the mix, so I might try and bring that up a little. Okay, this is a little bit better. Okay, then we've got the massive, doing some synth keys for us. A pad rather. Got a nice amount of kind of movement in the synth sound itself anyway, which is good. And I think the EQ sits pretty nicely. So let's get on to the vocals. The vocals are chucked into a single bus, as you can see down here. So I've kind of affected the majority of them just via the bus, because they're all the same artist, they're all in the same key, same kind of volume level, same tone. So, but I feel like I want to get a little more out of some of them than others. I'm going to listen back here. You see, I feel that that cuts through quite nicely, but it's not quite cutting through enough. So I really want to make a little more space for it. I could just raise the volume and see what happens. So but maybe we'll try that first. Let's just raise the volume a couple of decibels. So again, it's like it's kind of nearly there, but it's not. For me, it's not. It's just not punching through quite enough. Quite often, if you want something to punch through, especially vocals, it's usually around the sort of 2K mark. Now I've gone slightly higher than that. I've gone up to sort of 4.5. And I can see there's a dip here, actually around the 2K mark. Interesting. So maybe let's try removing, stack that one off, and we'll try and move the 2K up a little. Let's have a look and see how that works with the chorus. Helps if you unmute them first, I've noticed. Idiota. And then what I've done with these vocals is I've hard panned left and right, these two, and then I've put heavy reverb on the right hand one, which I've done some automation on, which I think I went through last time. Pretty sure I did. I like them, but I think they could both be a little bit louder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link these two channels over here, select both of them, right click, link selected channels. I just want to do volume for now, so I'm going to click OK. So this will make sure that I raise them at the same volume. Funnily enough, makes sense, doesn't it? And then once I've set them, then I'm going to unlink those channels, just put it back to normal. Then I've got this other little bit, the I mean, I'm surprised you can tell the difference between my voice and hers, but you know. So I go up a tiny little bit. I like it tucked away in the background, but I'm going to raise it just a little. Okay, I think it's a nice balance. I'm just going to check this middle 8 section here now, because everyone else seems to be playing ball. I haven't checked the intro bit actually. Let's check the intro quickly. A little hefty around the 300 mark. And I'll have to clear that mud out. Better. Okay, middle 8.
Boy, you know me, think you know me better. Yeah. Than anybody's ever known me, you know better. Yeah.
Let's loop that off. We'll do a little bit of EQ separately on this one, I think. I'll let the AI try and work it out first and then tinker with it afterwards. Now, because the AI doesn't take all that long to work it out, what we're going to do is just play it part way through, because I know that these two sections are different, so hopefully then it'll pick up a little bit from the first section and a little bit from the second section before it makes its call.
Please ever know me, you know better. Yeah. When I don't say a word.
Oh, not quite, but you know what, close enough. Right, now I definitely, from experience, know that I don't really want any of that super low end. Although you can get away with a bit more of it because there's not an awful lot happening in the middle 8, and you are only doing it to this one track, and this one track only features in the middle 8, so yeah, maybe.
You read me and it's beautiful. Boy, you know me, think you know me better.
I would definitely get a bit more volume out of it.
Than anybody's ever known me, you know better. When I don't say a word, you read me and it's beautiful.
I got no idea what she's saying, which is not a great sign, but I mean, you know some of it. So I'm really just, again, because it's an example, I'm just kind of going for sound quality rather than diction at this point. Diction with singers, vocalists, is such a difficult thing to get right. Some people will go back over tracks and overlay the very first kind of sound on its own track. So they'd sing the part, say, I don't want to know. And you see, I've lost, even just saying it, you lose the T's and the D's and any diction that comes along with the words. So some artists will actually do the D and the T, and they'll actually overlay those over the top and then put them on a separate track and then mix them in so that you get that kind of diction, the punch through, so you can understand what someone's saying. Okay, so I feel like we could get away with something else, maybe just on the end of that middle eight, like one of these guys or something like that. Let's see.
It's beautiful.
Now I did have this one as well though. This might work. Let's try this. I'll probably do the same reverb trick again anyway, just because I like it.
It's beautiful. So I'ma light it up just like a cigarette smoke till it's in my head, take it all away.
Okay, I'm going to have one final little 2 decibel up on the vocals. Arrangements there, I think. He says confidently. Arrangement there, not an awful lot happens with the drums, but I want to try and get some little fills and splashes and maybe a few textures or just odd sounds doing odd things at different places to give it a little bit of variation. Like I said at the beginning, I don't really want to do too much because you want it to be not distracting away from whatever it's going to sit behind. It's a product or whatever, or a TV show or something like that. But a little something I feel we need. So the first thing I might do before I bring in any effects is make a few little amends to some drums. Just drop a few bits in, drop a few bits out. So I'm going to listen through and make a decision as to where I think that could happen and where it would benefit. Okay, so here I think just before we cut in, I think we'll put an extra kick in and we'll maybe do something a little different with the snares. Don't know what that's going to be yet, so I'm going to tinker around. I'll set up my loop here around this section just so I can go around it.
Let it burn, let it burn. So I'ma light it.
Okay, and I think if we bring in some kind of reverse sound effect or something like that, some sort of splash, what you can't see at the moment is I am loading up my little samples. Let's see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move it over here in Cubase on the right hand side, which you can never see on my screen. So we get over here, you've got a load of different things that you can use, VST effects. There's a bunch of loops and samples and stuff and preset things that come, but I tend to use most of my stuff, Splice or stuff I've created myself, which is in the file browser. Okay, so here we have Splice, good old friend Splice. So sounds, I'm basically looking in the sounds I've already got. I don't just want to download new stuff for the sake of it, if I've got something that works. And so what I can do, you can see these are all my ones because they're all ticked. Not my ones, sorry. The ones that I have downloaded because they're all ticked. So we're just going to do a little search inside. Okay, so we found some risers. So we'll listen to a couple. That's not bad if it's in the right key. That's pretty good as well. It's called Booch. Booch. And now I'm going to slap these on some of the tracks I've already got. Do a tempo, sizing, time stretch, risers. Okay, well I've not done anything with the volume or mixing, so.
Let it burn,
very quiet. It's the pan slightly to the left, so that's okay. Let's have a little look at the EQ, and I probably want to stick a little bit of reverb on this as well. Okay, so that's quite nice. So the next thing I want to look for is some cymbals. So you get a little search function here. Crash. I don't feel like this is a crash kind of thing. Splash maybe. Let's try some splashes. That's nice. Okay, nice, that works. I've popped a little bit of reverb on that. So these things will feature elsewhere as well, but for now, while I'm in the sound effects genre, I don't mean genre, do I? Don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, you've seen how this works now, so I'm gonna spend a little bit of time going through, listening to some sounds, seeing what I think works, bringing them in, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I found a few bits, mostly crashes, cymbals, that kind of thing, which I've put in. One there at the intro, this one here, as it kicks in, and this little one here that we used to. And the little riser here. So again, we're going to have another little listen through, or I'm going to have another little listen through, I might not bore you with it. And I'm going to select a few places to do a couple of different bits of variation. So I feel like my old friend Reverb, I might just bring in a reverb onto the snare. I do like a shimmer, let's chuck a shimmer in. And all we're going to do is we're going to read write, so I don't really want any of it at all until these little points here. So we're just going to read write this in on the snare. So, absolutely wanted to die there. Do not want it at all. And I'm going to just fade it up a little. And let's see how that scans.
Let it burn, let it burn. So I'ma light it up just like a cigarette smoke till it's in my head, take it all away. Yeah,
Now I feel like we could get away with another little kick in here as well.
it's in my head, take it all away. Yeah.
I'm going to drop that one. Okay, now let's make a little adjustment here. I think we'll bring in, try this first one again at this point, and we'll maybe do a tiny little reverb lash onto the end of that snare. Really brief, and see how that scans.
Take the pain away.
Okay, that works. Now when's the next? So the next kind of jump is kind of here. So we'll drop in another cymbal there. And I think we'll do the same. I could just move those at the same time. So the new, or the current version of Cubase has got a new little feature about volume, where just here in the front left of any audio part, there's a little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little volume symbol. You can certainly see the hand change. Very useful. You just left click it, raise, lower the volume. I like that new feature. But I didn't like it then because I didn't want it then. So we're going to move that there. And we're going to try and bring in this one again as well. Don't know why I did that. Put that at the start of a bar. And I think we'll let it run through unabated for a little while. We can get away with a little double snare there perhaps, and I'm going to use that little volume feature. I have to zoom in quite tight. I'm just going to make it a little quieter for the second punch. Sometimes you want to pitch shift them as well, just to give them a little variation. And I think we'll do a tiny little reverb hit on this one, although I'm not sure that reverb style, the one I've picked, is the right one if I'm honest. I think I might change that, I think a bit less. We'll do concert hall. I'm hoping the automation, yeah, just solo this off to see how it sounds. Yeah, nice. It's a bit more subtle than the previous one I had. Next bit I want to look at will be this section. I think we'll get away with another kick in here. Probably on the T's maybe. And the same again here, I think we'll do another one. Oh. So whenever you've got a part highlighted, it zooms to that part, which is useful if you remember. Yeah, now I kind of want something to happen here. Have I got any reverb on? I have, haven't I? Yes. So I'm going to take a little reverb up on the hi-hats here. Yeah, nice and subtle, not an awful lot going on. It's about to burst into another section, which I may leave well alone. What I think I'm going to do is borrow some of these for the middle 8. Maybe too loud because there's nothing else going on in the background. I'm also going to do... So sometimes I like to slot in triplet kicks at the end of a bar. So it gives a kind of dit, 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 dit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how that sounds. Tell you what I'm also going to do. I'm going to slap a load of reverb onto that as well, onto the hi-hat, and a tiny bit onto the snare as well.
Boy, you know me, think you know me better. Yeah. Than anybody's ever known me, you know better. Yeah. When I don't say.
Okay, so I'm going to do with the reverse here. So that's on 87. Let's just go back and get our reverse from here. I think that was it, wasn't it? The riser, sorry, so 87. Quieter. I think we're going to put a reverb down on the reintroduction of the hi-hats. You know, that didn't hit hard enough either for me, that one. I might double it up. Yeah. When I don't say a word, you read me and it's beautiful. So I'ma light it up just like a sick. I'll put a little bit of the delay on as well onto those hi-hats. It's beautiful. So I'ma light it up just like a cigarette smoke till it's in my head, take it all away. Yeah, I'ma light it up just like a cigarette smoke till it's in my head, take the pain away. Just need something I think on the end would be good. I mean, it's a very boring and cliche thing to do, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to put a little crash at the end. I'm going to do the reverb tail on the hi-hats, and I'm going to ramp the delay up as well. But I need the reverb tail to dissipate to nothing, and I want the delay to dissipate to nothing as well. I'm going to do the same on the snare, and I'm going to put a final kick on the very end. Let's just see. Okay, I see what we will do is we will have the very first note of the bass repeating as well. So let's take off the rest. And we're going to make that shorter as well. I don't want a long tail out. I want the track to kind of end here. There may be some reverb that might linger on here, so I may need to do the volume down on the vocals, but I just want to be sure that they're at the right level before I do that. Actually, it would be quite nice to get that last It's Eternal with the reverb on it as well. So I'm going to move that onto the channel that's got the reverb and plays just on the right hand side. And I'm going to whack that up just at the end as well. Okay, I quite like that. So what I'm going to do is crossfade these two so that they don't phase with each other too much. That should do it. So I think that's probably enough for now. A few little bits of difference, not too much. So now we're going to do the master overall mix. I'm going to just select a little loop that's got a lot of stuff going on. Probably this one looks pretty good. It's not got the cymbals in it. So what I tend to do is if I want to check that everything's going to work with everything, I might bring in some of these sounds into the loop that I'm going to mix almost randomly. And then what I'll do is I'll just colour those an off colour, pick red for now, so that I remember to take them back out again. But I'm just doing that so that I can tell that the EQ works across all of the elements, and probably want to bring that riser in as well. Okay, so we've got a loop round significant parts. So now we go to our master out and start to layer it up. A little bit of true iron, get some transients in there. Smart EQ that we're going to run across the whole track. So reset that, set it to universal. I'll make it a little more subtle than it's suggested. At this point, you're looking for whether any overall EQ range is a little bit too much. I'm going to take down 2.5 is probably pretty good. About that wide, I guess, is probably reasonable as well. I'm just going to take that down just a tiny bit, maybe -1 actually. Bringing in Ozone now. Ozone, what I've got set up here is I've got an overall equalizer. I just tend to use for my kind of stereo outs. Pulls down certain frequencies, as you can see. Then I've got dynamics, 4 sets across my kind of frequency ranges that I want to keep relatively separate. I'm really looking for it to get to like -0.1, just to take the top off, but not much more. I don't mind leaving it a little bit stronger on the one I've set around the 300 mark because of the mud.
Let it burn, let it burn.
They were pretty good. Then I've got an exciter, which I exaggerate for the lower frequencies and the higher frequencies, and then a little bit in the mid-range, the upper mid-range, but I don't put anything on my 300. I've got imager, which is kind of a stereo imager, so the low end obviously you want to keep relatively mono. It's not really mono per se, but you want to keep it a little bit tighter. Then the 300 band mark, I keep that a little bit more mono as well, a little bit more narrow. And then I'll widen up the top two, just to give a bit of width. Then I've got a Soothe 2, I've got a couple of these which I'll put on. And these are just, less mud on the master. And I've kind of set these to a point that I quite like, which I think just takes a little bit of the heavier stuff off. I usually set these two lower for performance reasons, but on the stereo out, I really want to hear what difference it's going to make. So I leave them higher there. And at each step, we're sort of listening to it and hoping it's not pulling out too much of the stuff that we want, the frequencies we want. Basically want to be giving it a little more space, a little more volume. Next we go to Cubase Vintage Compressor, which is going to make it loud. So I'm going to check some volumes and come back to you. Well, I stand corrected. Didn't really make it that much louder. But basically what I'm looking for, I've got a fairly short attack and a fairly short release, because this is applying to the whole track. And I just want it to be compressing a little. So I just want to see that number 1 light up a little bit. And then I'm trying to keep my dB output, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, it's very small. This is somewhere between -12, -6. -7.5 would do. And next, my old friend Silver Bullet adds a little bit of, well, it adds all sorts of stuff, but it's, yeah. Go look at a YouTube video about Silver Bullet. It's a very impressive bit of kit. I'll do a quick bypass so you can hear the difference. I appreciate the sound quality is not brilliant on this, but... Then my main aim, really, again, I've set this up already how I want it to be, but my main aim is to get the output looking at around about 10. Just added a tiny little bit, nice little bit of distortion on there. So next we're going to do our overall compressor. And here we're looking to see that the overall compression isn't super high. I'll give you a quick demonstration of it being pulled down and up, just so you can hear the difference. There you go, I'm not really crushing it, so it's much further than maybe -2. Then, Sonible Smart Limiter. This very useful because it gets the track to a point and you can quality check it so you can see whether you're going to be good for Spotify or whatever. So I've got this set to Electronic House as a kind of guide volume, and I need to run the track and then run the AI. This could get very loud, so I might do a bit of adjustment. And I click my quality check. Yeah, peak's good for Spotify, input gain looks good. Well, it's dropped now, of course, because there's nothing playing. But you can see over here, we're now up to -1 decibels, which is good. We were at about -7, so this is the final output. And the last one of kind of significance I'm using at the moment is the Ultra Maximizer. And again, it just allows you to get more volume without distorting. Kind of personal preference, but I keep the LUFS at around sort of 10, -10. Don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what I do. And the last one I put on my stereo out is this little number, which is a Cubase dither. Doesn't make any difference to the sound when you're listening to it. This is purely used that if you're going to change the bit size of the file, it should be just how you want it. So you shouldn't lose, I don't know if the term is lossless, but you shouldn't lose any quality if you go from 24-bit to 16-bit, for example. I think that's how it works. Don't quote me on it. Look it up. Trust the professionals. I'm going to get paid for this, but professional. Debatable. Right, that's us. That's us. So I'm going to set my markers and I'm going to try a little Mixdown. See that we're good. And I'm going to slap the Mixdown on the end of this video so you can have a little listen to it in all its glory. And see what you think. There you go. All right, thanks for watching.
Cigarette Boy, you know me, think you know me better.
Yeah.
Than anybody's ever known me, you know better.